चलो भाई लाइव आ गए। मैं सोचा था और आज नहीं खेलूंगा लेकिन बहुत मन कर रहा था ये गेम खेलने का इसलिए खेल रहा हूँ।
So we're back in the Zion mine tunnels. Who'd have thought we'd be going through this place again?
No one.
This is where you and I first fought together.
अब I
And
think so.
also the first time we touched, as I recall.
रुक जाओ।
Wait, really?
Yes, really.
मेरे को वाटर वाले आर्ट्स इक्विप करने हैं अब। चलो ये वाटर वाला ही है। अच्छा तो एक चलो रिनवेल अभी इनफ होगा आई गेस। फिर क्या आइटम कोई एनिमी नहीं है रास्ते में आई गेस। कौन सा है आवाज?
So this path is supposed to take us out to Berg Volcano?
We're not gonna see any lava burst out in front of us or anything, are we?
Don't get so paranoid you let a rock fall on your head, Law.
लकी पेबल। अब लेवल बहुत तेजी से मतलब पहले जितना बढ़ रहा था उससे तो तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। बग वेल करना।
So hot.
Well, yeah. We've reached the inner portion of
कोई आइटम होगा आई गेस यहाँ पे। चलो
Berg Volcano.
We need to find that starship. And fast.
नहीं नहीं नहीं। कुछ तो प्रोटेक्ट कर रहा भाई। ना ना भाई वो लड़े रहता हूँ पर फ्ली भी तो कर सकता हूँ उनके अगेंस्ट।
Courteous, aren't you?
The wise warrior knows when to call it quits.
यस मैं तो आइटम देने आया था बाकी चीज़ से मेरे को मतलब नहीं है। किसका स्किल हो गया? हाँ
Design of this equipment is really interesting.
You must really like it, Alphen.
Elfin knows.
Huh.
एक सेकंड।
You can make plants grow instantly? What if we use this for fruits and vegetables?
I'd rather not be our party's fertilizer. Thank you very much. that could easily be faced.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Firmament Ranger! Annihilation! Arrow Squall! Do it!
In an instant! We work well together.
Like a finely timed one.
None shall escape my judgment! Lightning Descent! Burning Strike! Lightning Contact! Here I go! Thunder! I never miss!
Sorry, but this fight ends here.
Now, Asuna!
Right! Will this help? Firmament Ranger! Healing Circle! Thanks for the healing. Watch this. Yeah, you too. Do it!
Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
My face is starting to sting, and my throat feels super parched.
Here, have some water. Just make sure you don't drink too much.
Thanks.
You want some too, Shion? Oh, wait. Bet you're hungry more than anything, aren't you?
Hi, Hoodle! Radiant Sacred Darkness! Radiant Pierce!
Orochi's Fury!
Searing Flame! Divine Stream! Lightning Condemned! Go for the weak point! Lightning Condemned!
Fluidity of your movements are sinking in Its armor's too strong. It'll split it up! Be like it! I'm ready! I'm right behind you!
All yours, Kisara! A comfortable win.
An opponent like this should be easy. Ignite!
Not on my watch! Firmament Ranger! I never miss!
If it cools up, it's time to get out of the way.
Here's a healing arrow! Arrow Squall!
This one keeps
Do it!
charging us!
All yours, Kisara!
I'll heal you all! Firmament Ranger! Healing Circle! Leave the enemy's arms to me!
No complaints here.
Here, let me help! Squall! First aid!
Can you take it?
Glacial Spear!
Can't
Here's
get out of
evil!
bed!
The wind! Air thrust! Freeze Lancer!
Raging Lunar Storm!
Firmament Ranger! I'm only getting started! Arrow Squall!
Heal!
Glacial Spear. Pierce Evil. Firmament Arch requires complete Freeze Lancer.
Eat dirt!
Firmament Render. Freezing Storm. Firmament Render.
Lightning thrust!
Arrow Squall. Ready.
Rising Wiper! You're mine!
Healing Circle. Alpin. Astral Energy.
Say no more! Got it!
Well done.
Sorry, but this fight ends here! Go faster! Now, Asuna!
Right. I'll heal you.
In an instant! Impact Claw! I'm ready!
All yours, Kisara.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
And thus, our strength yet grows. Discourteous, aren't you?
I never miss.
Come one,
Not
come
on
all!
my watch. Firmament Render. Arrow Squall. Their hide is thick as armor. Firmament Render.
Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for you
In a
and
vine,
Thanks, Kisara.
the enemy wields arc too.
You'll soon see about that. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Here's a Firmament Render. First aid. Arrow Squall.
Burn in hell!
Firmament Render.
Double Demon Fang!
Ready to go.
I'm ready! Blow them away! You're mine!
Firmament Render. Here, let me help.
Can you take it?
I owe you, Sion. Healing is what my
nothing
arts do
back.
best. All my can do is cause havoc and destruction. Firmament Render.
Sorry, but this fight ends here! Go faster! Now, Asuna!
Right. Jolene, this one's got your name on it.
Action to action. A merry distraction.
There's still more to go.
Allow me to help you.
Don't mind if I do. Mega Ray. Firmament Render.
Fury!
Take this. Ready and raring.
Annihilation. Firmament Render.
Commander of Heavens! Phoenix Cyclone!
I've been doing really great lately.
Let's see what you've got.
You picked the wrong
Ranger.
fight!
Mega Ray. Arrow Squall. Here's a healing art. First aid.
I shall provide assistance.
Ready to go!
Radiant Core through armor.
Here I come!
Flying freak! Why can't they just sit still?
Sion, can you take care of them?
No sooner said
I
than
have
done.
no limits.
That's my cue.
Shut him down.
Going to wreck the place.
I'm not near. Sorry, but this fight ends here.
Now, Asuna!
Right. Firmament render. Arrow fall. A freezing storm. Firmament
This death
render.
shall not be
Arrow fall. None shall escape my judgment. Firmament render. Arrow fall. Arch field.
I'm ready. In an instant. Impact block.
Am I on a roller? What?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
It's crazy to see rocks melt before our eyes.
Watch where you're going, everyone. If you fall, there will be nothing left of you.
Exactly. So don't try anything funny. Especially you, Law. No pushing anyone, not even as a joke.
I'm not a little kid! I didn't know you had that sort of trick up your sleeve, Dohalim. I would have figured rocks and plants would be too different for you to handle both.
Not necessarily. Both of them contain Earth astral energy.
What the hell is that thing? Probably that monster Nath warned us about, if I had to guess.
जिससे लड़ने में
Do you
मजा
think
आएगा.
this might have been where one of those lights that shot out of the wedge landed?
But why this location? If the purpose of the wedge is to harvest Dana's astral energy.
We can figure that out later. If that thing gets into town, it's going to cause chaos. We need to take it down and move on. Let's go!
जिससे लड़ने में मजा आएगा पता. ये उसकी तरह होगा क्या ये? क्या नाम था वो? ओ भाई L47 अब मेरे को शायद थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है.
Let me know if you need healing.
ये उसकी तरह ही है इसका मैकेनिज्म एकदम. क्या नाम है?
On your toes, everyone.
क्या नाम था उसका? अब मैं अटैक क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा किसी को?
Suddenly turning tail doesn't seem so ridiculous.
Why? Are you scared?
Me? Are you?
Do you even have to ask? Of course I'm scared.
Why can't I attack anyway?
That thing's lunch.
It's summoning Zoogle? Take care of them while keeping an eye on it.
ओके तो मतलब मेरे को उससे नहीं लड़ना है भाई पता है?
I'll stop its charge.
Thanks, Kisara.
Not today.
Radiant, I never miss.
In a bind?
Close one. Here's a healing art.
Holy shit सबको हील करना पड़ेगा कैसे तो? क्या सब मर गए 1 सेकंड में?
I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Firmament Render! Resuscitation! Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Armor won't save you! Far enough! Can't be...
आई गेस मेरे को थोड़ा टैक्टिक थोड़ा आराम से वो चेंज करना पड़ेगा टैक्टिक. वो कहाँ है स्ट्रैटेजी मेरा? अब मैं खुद लड़ता हूँ उनसे, अपना टीममेट नहीं कर पाएगा. जब भी डोंट डू एनीथिंग करते हो ना, थोड़ा मैच और लंबा हो सकता है, लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा एडवांटेज होता है.
Firmament Render! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall!
क्या कर ही देता हूँ भाई, बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लग जाएगा. शियोन को चेंज करो पर. अच्छा रिवाइव कर लिया अपने आप को.
Sunlight! Firmament Render!
मैं अपना कैमरा मूव नहीं कर पा रहा मालूम.
I'll try to be more careful.
Can't get out of
Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Firmament Render!
Now you see what I can do!
Nothing gets by me! My heart requires complete focus! Smart.
साइड हो. ओ भाई
Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Sometimes the best medicine is just how to let the marksman handle this. Arrow Squall! This one's mine! Firmament Render! Take this! Armor won't save you! I'm on the Mega Ray! That's quite... Don't mind if I do! Radiant Firmament Render! Here's a healing Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Far enough!
अरे आगे आगे.
Firmament Render! I'm on Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Armor won't save you!
I'm ready!
I'm merely doing what I can.
In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Finally timed well.
Burn!
पीछे जाओ.
Firmament Render!
No further!
Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! I'm out of ammo! I'm all stuffed up! Let them mark! Firmament Render! Going? I can handle it!
1 सेकंड.
Let me help! Arrow Squall! Not on my watch! Armor won't save you! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall!
Nice work! To be let free!
Firmament Render!
Let us take to the fray!
Arrow Squall! a healing
See what
arc.
I can do!
Not on my watch.
I'll face you! Crescent strike!
Arrow squall. Firmament render.
Ignite!
Here I go. Far enough. Arrow squall. Blah blah blah. Arrow squall. Here's a healing
I'm right
arc.
behind you!
Firmament render.
Stay away from my
Arrow
friend!
squall. Firmament render. Do it. Neon. Astral energy. Full throttle. I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Resuscitation. I'll heal
Here
you.
come more!
We'll just have to keep fighting. The enemy wields arts too.
You'll soon see about that. Firmament render.
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Just what the doctor ordered.
Ready to go! Denied!
Close one. Arch shield. Close one. Firmament render. Not on my watch. Just what the doctor ordered.
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone! Yeah! Nice technique!
Firmament render. Arrow squall. I can do this all day. Firmament render.
Out there!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Ready. Arrow squall. Not on my watch.
Burn in hell! Now you see what I can do!
Firmament render.
Is there no way
Arrow
out?
squall.
Far enough! An outstanding effect.
I hope this medicine works as promised.
Reinforcements incoming!
Not a problem.
Tiger Blade!
Arrow squall.
I'm on it!
Firmament render.
Burn in hell!
Glacial Fire!
Arrow squall.
Keep up the
Carve
pressure!
through walls!
Yeah! Your art! Their arts were incredible! Far enough! Guns off!
This one's mine.
You picked the wrong fight!
I'll tear you apart.
You are gonna need that! Armor won't...
I still got some fight left in me.
Nearly done for.
I hope this medicine works as promised.
Eat dirt!
Come on, guys.
Just hang in there.
I don't intend to lose.
Right. We'll come back even stronger. Sorry, but this fight ends here. Just go faster.
Now, Asuna!
Right!
Take this! Here we go again. I'm on it.
Hold on to your art.
Come on! You have to hold on!
Not in your dreams.
Try harder.
Feel the
Here I come. Is this what real pain feels like? Here we go again.
back from death to this. Resuscitation! Here, let me help. First aid!
I owe you one for that.
Lightning thrust.
Radiant pierce!
Can't be happening. Not like this.
Slap! Try this! Is this what real pain feels like? I'm on it!
Surfing knuckle! Art expert coming through!
I've let you all down.
This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Here it comes! Focus!
On your toes, everyone!
Suddenly turning tail doesn't seem so ridiculous.
Why? Are you scared?
Me? Are you?
Do you even have to ask? Of course I'm scared!
Focus up before we become that thing's lunch.
It's summoning Zoogle? Take care of them while keeping an eye on it!
No further! This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me!
Good! I'll leave it to you!
Arrow Ball! Firmament Ranger Fire! Here's the eagle! Firmament Ranger! Arrow Ball! Firmament Ranger! Arrow Ball! Here's the eagle!
It's no fun! Now you see what I can do!
Ray! Arrow
This
Ball!
one's mine!
You got company! Cyan Instant! I'm all set! Arrow Ball! Firmament Ranger!
In a vine?
Amazing.
Now, while it's reeling!
Take it down!
I'm ready!
Jovaline!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! You don't mess around!
Certainly not.
Arrow Squall!
Burn in hell!
I never miss!
Execution! Now you see what I can do!
Green babe.
Here's the fluidity
The fluidity of your music is simply incredible.
Begin! In a bind!
Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Cyan Arrow Squall! Annihilation!
Armor is all mine!
Firmament Render! Freezing Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Tornado! Firmament Render!
Ready to go!
Sorry, I didn't want to shut you out.
What are friends for if we can't depend on one another?
You're right. I'll bear that in mind.
Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Do it!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! Anything here, come more!
We'll just have to keep fighting. The enemy wields
never
art
miss.
too.
You'll soon see about that! Do it!
In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
Firmament Render! Eat dirt! Arrow Squall! Too much to handle?
Take this!
Freeze Razor!
Outfit! In an instant! Impact Claw!
I'm ready. Reinforcements incoming.
Not a problem!
I'll smash you!
Hold on to
Instinct
your
shot!
heart! Here I come! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall!
Mine!
Blah, blah, blah! Arrow Squall! Firmament Arch Steel! Not in your dreams! Arrow Squall! Firmament Render! Arrow Squall! Magic is ready!
Can't get out of this!
Arch Steel! Firmament Render! None shall escape! Don't mind if I do! Arrow Squall!
You picked the wrong fight!
Ready! Magic is amped!
Leave the chargers to me!
Arrow Squall! You get the gist! Arrow Squall! Thanks!
Resonate with the
One at a
earth!
time! Let the marksman don't mind if I do!
Seismic
Arrow Shattering Do it! Sion, Astral Energy! Full throttle! A flawless victory! Naturally! I never miss!
Armor won't save you!
Arrow Squall! Don't mind if I do! Do it!
In an instant! Impact Claw!
Firmament Render! Radiant Arrow Squall! Radiant Blood here!
In an instant! Impact Claw!
It's about to strike!
Look sharp, everyone!
I can handle it.
Everyone all right?
We won't surrender. We won't retreat. Not yet.
Whatever you do, just please stay safe.
I'm in your very circle! You must be tired of killing me. I'm merely doing what I can to help.
I'll handle it. Glad you're on us.
Alphen!
That's enough! Go back down! Everyone okay?
Yeah, I think so.
That thing scared the pants off me.
It felt like it had a different aura than other Zeugles, didn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't like the one that Almadria sicked on us either.
Its elemental astral energy variance was out of this world. It was like fighting a lord.
I guess it's safe to assume that if it came out of the wedge, it must have played some part in helping harvest astral energy. But what?
Perhaps a living spirit vessel? It's plausible, given the location. Or it may be part of a new force dispatched to regain control of Dana.
If we assume that monster was one of the 4 beams of light, we must have prevented something from taking place here.
I'd like to think so, knowing how much grief it gave us. But at least with that out of the way, we can keep moving forward now. Let's go.
Lady Fortune must truly be watching over me.
What do you know? Another big fire monster with nothing better to do than get in our way!
I wonder where the rest of those lights ended up landing. It looked like they were pretty scattered.
Well, whatever they're after, let's just hope none of them are anywhere near a city.
Well, no rest for the wicked, right?
I thought you liked the opportunity.
Against those things? Besides, we've already got our hands full saving the world. Dying
Yeah, I guess I can't argue with...
Hey, is that it over there?
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend so much?
Alphen?
Did you remember something?
No, but I have seen this starship before. This is it. This is the ship I traveled in when I escaped from Lenegis.
"3 centuries later, and it's no worse for wear. I'll take a look at the internals.
Damn! I'm amazed it still works at all after all this time.
The past meets the present. I really am from a different time and place.
Yeah, but you've got us now, Alphen.
Not only that, but you've helped out so many people, too.
Law's right. Rinwell too. You're one of us now. No more carrying the weight of history on your shoulders. You're a part of this world.
Right. Thanks, you guys.
How's it look?
It should fly. All internal systems seem to be operating. However, considering how long it's remained inactive, I suspect it will take some time before it's ready for takeoff.
How much time are we talking here?
Starship mechanics are not what I'd call my forte, so I'd rather not hazard a guess.
So we've just got to sit around here and wait? I'm terrible at waiting.
That's because you're a child. Oh, but how about we use this time to prepare and gather supplies for the trip?
Good idea. Who knows when we'll be back from Lenegis once we leave? We should prepare ourselves for every possible scenario before we go.
Let's try not to stay away too long. I'd hate for anything to happen to the place while we're gone.
Either we race ahead, or we take due precaution to ensure we have no regrets. I shall leave it up to you as to how we proceed, Alphen.
Works for me.
It's funny, isn't it?
What is?
All this. When we first started this thing, did you ever imagine we'd be going to Lenegis? After all, this is the sort of thing I was rebelling against when I ran away from home, right?
I'm sure Zephyr would be proud if he knew what his son was doing right now.
And a little shocked, too.
We're defying the order of things that have persisted for 300 years. Deep down, I knew our journey would lead to confronting Lenegis.
Yeah, you maybe, but you're a Renan. The rest of us can barely even picture what it means to leave Dana.
No offense to Shion and Dohalim, but it's worth remembering we're heading into enemy territory.
No offense taken, and this is no picnic for me either.
Remember, our aim is to ensure that both Lenegis and the Renan homeworld leave Dana alone for good. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a fight.
Is there no way we can talk them into leaving us alone?
The people of Lenegis?
Sure. I mean, we found a way to make it work with Shion and Dohalim, right? And it's not just us. If places like Menancia can do it, then why can't we?
Because there are still many of my kind who believe it was right and natural that Rena reigns over Dana. There are those on Lenegis who have never stepped foot on Dana. I doubt whether they'd even listen to Danans.
Look, none of us want to fight. But these are the same people who fired that wedge down on Dana. What happens next is on them.
Right. We're not going to sit back and wait for them to oppress us again.
Right.
Don't forget, there's also a good chance the Red Woman is somewhere on Lenegis. And wherever she is, we should find the Renaissance too.
That's right. If we can take it back, then Shion can finally get rid of her thorns. Shion? Huh?
Yeah.
Where'd Shion go? How could she just go off on her own? Shion. Shion! It's your thorns? But why? You okay? Just now, it looked like you used your maiden powers to suppress your thorns. You can really do that?
Stay out of my way.
Wait a second. Are you planning to go alone?
Shut up!
Why would you do this?
I told you to shut up!
I won't let you.
I mean it.
I refuse to let you.
I won't tell you again. Move or I'll shoot.
If that's the case, then go ahead and shoot me!
Do you remember back when I was stabbed? By Volron?
Yeah. I thought for sure that he had killed you back there.
That wasn't the first time.
Huh?
The first time was when I was only a child. After that, no matter how often, I just couldn't die.
Couldn't die? So you're immortal? How's that even...
I believe you, Shion. But tell me how is something like that possible?
My thorns. They're me, but at the same time not. They're part of me. I have no idea why, but my thorns will never let me die. At least not before I'm meant to.
You can't die before your death?
When my thorns free themselves, it will be my death. I've seen it. A darkness that swallows up everything until nothing remains. It's a vision of oblivion I can't escape. I want to believe it's all just a bad dream. But no matter what I tell myself, I know it's not.
Yeah, but you... Wait. The whole reason you needed the Renaissance was to get rid of your thorns, right?
If I burn away what's inside, then what will happen to the rest of me? Right. Either way you look at it, I'm going to die. But if I am going to die, I figure I can at least take my thorns out with me. That's what I've been after this whole time.
That's why you turned your back on your fellow Renans and chose to fight with us, isn't it? And while we've all been fighting to keep on living, you have been with us fighting desperately to die.
That was the plan. But then I met all of you. And before I knew it, I didn't want to die anymore.
There's hope yet. We'll find a way to save you. There's still time to...
It's pointless.
Why?
Because the darkness won't just consume me. The truth is, it will consume all of existence as well. It was only a suspicion at first, but ever since the Red Woman triggered my maiden powers, I've been more certain than ever before. It was then that I finally came to realize my powers were holding my thorns in check the entire time. But they don't anymore. Not since Lenegis, when the wedge fell. Every day, I feel the thorn's power growing stronger inside of me. Pretty soon, I won't be able to hold them back anymore. And when that happens,
They will consume all existence.
And that's why you wanted to leave by yourself. You planned to find the Renis Alma on your own and sacrifice yourself to stop the thorns.
But that's... too much. It's way too much.
when this all began, I didn't care what happened to me or anyone else. And what happened to the Renans or the Danans didn't matter to me at all. I know I have to die, but I don't want to. Not now that I have this. I wish we had never met. Then I wouldn't have to feel this way.
Shion!
Alvin?
Only living for the sake of dying is no better than being a slave. How can you endure this?
Alvin.
It's not fair. I don't care what anybody says. I won't let it happen! We can fight this! Fight until the end together. Isn't that what you said to me before?
Even if it should mean that it'll be the end of everything else, too?
Shion, what do you want? It's your decision, ultimately. But if you decide not to fight fate, I will. Even if I have to do it alone.
No, you won't be alone. I'll fight as well.
Count me in as well. I want to be a force for good, not hate.
And me too. I meant it with all of my heart when I told you before. Neither of you are alone in this at all.
You guys...
And I, for one, don't believe this venture is without hope.
Huh?
Shion is the descendant of a maiden from 300 years ago. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that those events have some connection to her thorns. The true nature of which, I imagine we will discover as we make our way to Lenegis and uncover the truth of what's...
वापस बच गएगा ना
I take it you mean we might find a way to get rid of her thorns and she'll live?
It's certainly possible. Though I suspect
Kamas
the nature of
cutscene
the
था ये.
Sovereign is connected somehow.
So be it. I've already lost everything I had once. And I won't let it happen again. Shion. No matter what happens from now on, we're right here with you. All of us are. You are not alone.
You guys. You're all so stubborn. Thank you, everyone.
For right now. And a little while longer. I just want to hold on to this dream. And most of all, more than anything else, I want to be with all of you. So let's go. On to Lenegis.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth.
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems... Still, it's hard to fathom some...
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what...
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands. So many clues. Yet the complete picture eludes us.
So where do her thorns fit in, then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all. You remember?
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelegion. When her thorns went wild, they contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would...
So you think those thorns might be alive too? But why would they want to destroy the entire...
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery.
You know, I've known...
Can you blame? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help, especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the As for what the final picture will look like...
Right.
How you holding up?
Who, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit
Oh, that?
compared to what Shion's going through. Still, even if you yourself might be Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on. And she really needed that. That's what I mean when...
I just want for Shion what we all have. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday thing.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I have my own dreams. But a world without her?
Agreed. It's... Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard, how could I?
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't... I just figured that that was the type of person she was, but it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die, and...
I know.
She was so alone this entire time.
I'm sure it made her happy.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she could have ever opened up to us like that. You were a good friend to her before.
Yeah. I really hope... When you think about it, we were all alone in our own way. But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. No, I mean, I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be...
Rinwell.
Did you...
You mean about
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. It's like a completely...
You and me both.
You? But
That's what I thought. But in
at least you figured it out in time.
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah,
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world...
I know.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say.
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now, Law. And you've already made up your own mind about what you want.
I guess he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough problems to deal with, don't we? We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point. But I guess I'll think it over.
Yeah. Hey, you doing all right?
As much as I try to look like I have things under control, everyone still worries about me.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Dahnans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the Blazing Sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renins. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then, I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt, and hearing what you all had to say, I finally understood that. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying anymore. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about to give in now. So I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Dahnans and Renins, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you, until the very end.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. We depart for Lenegis.
तो मौसम चेंज हो गया, वाइब्रेंट सा एकदम। भाई साहब क्या मस्त गेम है वे। सेकेंड हाफ बहुत बेटर है फर्स्ट हाफ से, मतलब फर्स्ट हाफ बुरा नहीं था पर मेरे को सेकेंड हाफ एक कंपैरिजन में काफ़ी बेटर लग रहा है अभी तो। क्या वाइब्रेंट है भाई, मेरा उल्टा आईपीएस पैनल है भी नहीं तब भी इतना लग रहा है वाइब्रेंट। टीएन पैनल पे खेलता हूँ मैं, तो आइटम स्टॉक अप कर लूँगा। उधर ही मिलने चाहिए आई गेस लेने के इसमें तो, आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग। लेमन जेल ले लेता हूँ 11 और रिवाइव वाले हैं ना मेरे पे 19 आई गेस इनफ है अभी तो।
Did we really just spend that much money?
चुप कर बे। कितना ज़्यादा सुंदर गेम है भाई, वाटर कलर आर्ट स्टाइल पूरा। वहाँ देखो भाई साहब, चलो
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that. You're going to jinx us.
ओरिजिनल FF7 में जब बड़ी वाली शिप मिलती है ना
Speaking of which,
वैसा ही वाइब आ रहा
This
है।
bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... Well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right. Then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
भाई मैंने जब पहली बार टेल ऑफ राइज देखा था मेरे को लगा था मिडिवल सेटिंग का टाइप ऑफ गेम है. मैंने कभी एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था ऐसे स्पेस में जाएंगे भाई ऐसी शिप में.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life. For as long as I can remember. They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using...
You mean...
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my... Day in and day out. Every single day. One test after... The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I... Some existence, huh? A blood... I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started... Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed, that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean...
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around?
Are you crazy?
That's exactly... Why should you have to give up your life just because... It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. As if some of us were just meant to be... This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that... If we're doing this to protect people... If we're doing this to save the world from destruction... Then that has to include saving...
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along.
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't...
You bet we can pull it off. We have to.
Yeah, you're right. We can do...
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone...
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. Doesn't that frighten?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people, but I can't keep running forever. The past...
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more... Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So,
Hey,
What's got Law?
only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
hey! I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified...
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do.
Well, maybe you're the one with the
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got...
Oh, that's a good point. If you...
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of the...
You okay?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth...
Glad to hear it. That device there cut her up.
I was just wondering what it is.
It's a healing pod. It fixed...
Oh, you don't say. Alphen?
No, I was just thinking Naori laid me...
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping?
Yes. It sounds crazy.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left
Of course. That's why you came with it.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Dahnan. If I've learned anything, and the one who brought...
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks.
I know. But whatever...
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Is everyone about ready?
Before we do that, just...
Kisara has a point.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dahna. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independence. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right?
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dahna even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Dahnan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What a...
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral art.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to hide. No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you?
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of...
So this red woman...
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being...
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dahna, we need to take it back.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of...
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there,
लेनेगिस फाइनली गेम की स्टार्टिंग से सुने जा रहे हैं लेनेगिस मुझे लगा नहीं था पता लेकिन लेनेगिस आएंगे जितना दिखा रहे हैं उनकी उतनी पावर वगैरह वगैरह
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns. known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
चलो मजा आएगा.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renans.
Holy shit.
Capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less.
अच्छा यहाँ से जाना है
Who
वापस.
knows what we'll find on the other side.
हमें कभी एक्सपेक्ट नहीं था भाई टेल्स ऑफ राइस. मतलब अभी मेरे को पता चल गया जब गेम शुरू करने के बाद की टेक्नोलॉजी वगैरह है. जब पहली बार किया था तभी पता चल गया था. ये जब मैं पहले देख रहा था मतलब लाइक स्कारलेट नेक्सस खेलते समय मैंने जितना देखा था इसका मतलब मैंने ट्रेलर वगैरह नहीं देखे थे. मैंने बस इमेजेस वगैरह देखे थे. तो पूरा मिडीवल सेटिंग वाला मेरे को टेल्स टाइप ऑफ गेम लग रहा था. मैंने बिल्कुल एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था भाई कि स्पेस में जाऊंगा. ये सब टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी हाई. जब मेरे को पहली बार पता चला कि टेल्स ऑफ राइस में टेक्नोलॉजी है, मैंने जब देखा था कि जो फोर्थ लॉर्ड थी उसके साथ शिप पे बैटल कर रहे थे एकदम टेक्नोलॉजी वाली, तब मेरे को समझा कि कुछ तो है इसमें ऐसा. ओके क्या हुआ यहाँ पे? बहुत अच्छी कंडीशन में है तो.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Okay.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Holy.
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people?
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening.
सब एक बंदे
So far,
एक जैसे दिखते सारे
Listen to
एनपीसी
me.
सारे एक
We're
जैसे
looking for the Forbidden
थोड़ा
Zone.
डाइवर्स
Do you have
डाइवर्स
any idea
मॉडल
where
होना
we
चाहिए
might
था
find it?
सारे एक जैसे
Forbidden
दिखते हैं
Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
वो लड़की ना
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
वो साउंड कहाँ से है
Why did you come back?
none
You know
of
it
your
can only
business
result
bro
in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
क्या मतलब इसको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है कि डायनन
You
बंदे
really
आ
are
गए
the
ऊपर
same as ever.
और इसको शायद रिकग्नाइज भी हुआ है कि
I
डायनन है
understand. Just don't say I
अल्फिन
didn't
और
warn
बाकी
you.
लोग
And take care of yourself. Okay, Doe?
बड़ा अजीब कपड़े पहनता है डायनन लगता है ऊपर कुर्ता है पर नीचे पैंट पहन लिया रोलिम तो अलग ही पहनता है
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that
We need more information.
While we're at it, we can ask.
भाई मुझे
And
अब
don't forget
थोड़ा
about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the
बहुत
talking.
देर से मैंने बैटल नहीं
We
किया
can't have a bunch of Danans poking their nose.
good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantage.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an.
From how it looks, they must be.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what do we wait?
You heard him. You don't have time to stop.
So, I've been wondering,
What do you mean?
well, none of this happened by coincidence. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have.
Ordinarily, trust me. As far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so,
Sorry. That probably sounds.
not at all. Sometimes it takes an out. This place is a mystery, that's.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit? The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Hmm? Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for...
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to this.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here.
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing...
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Nothing happens devoid of a reason.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as... That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's told... Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself it... Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to this?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? But Sovereign is also the title given to the Almighty.
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone... As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became... 300 years later, we crossed paths with Volron, who also... That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure.
But that would mean that 2 sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganeth Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman... The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead... Let's go find...
With nobody left to run the show, I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to... Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to...
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on...
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seemed to mind.
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question...
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danan city we've... I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth.
More to the point, not a
What if she's not here?
It's still too early.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around on...
Hmm?
Yes! Yes!
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill?
You know, when you're talking to people around town.
I'm afraid...
I do. It's look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll...
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks.
So there is an act to...
Now you've got me curious.
Let's see. An obsession with being...
If you've a bone to pick with me...
What? They look up to you, that's all.
Hey! What's got into Al? I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
What? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
What's this thing?
Pardon me.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right, too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Haros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely, but their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we...
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had love...
I know. What they did was horrible. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. So I guess what I'm trying...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible. Even if they did terrible things, they...
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. I think that's something we've...
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
There's something I just...
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be...
Yeah, that makes...
So...
Hanfrikt Milgrath, the former lord of Cyslodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly,
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign?
I guess over Holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, It's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange...
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelegion, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly...
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even...
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
कौन है वो?
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.